From space, Earth glows with life. Beneath the lights of cities lies an invisible force powering our modern world. Every day, enormous ships carry millions of barrels of oil, cross oceans, feeding the engines of civilization. Oil moves through a vast global network, connecting deserts, oceans, pipelines, and refineries across continents. Inside refineries, crude oil is transformed into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and the energy that drives our daily lives. At massive ports, tankers arrive constantly, unloading the lifeblood of the global economy. But beneath this complex system lies a fragile truth. The world depends on oil more than ever.
We are following this closely.
And much of that oil must travel through narrow sea routes, controlled by powerful nations.
Understood. Routes are updating now.
For decades, these shipping lanes remained open, protected by diplomacy, trade, and fragile peace. But peace can shatter faster than anyone expects. One day, tensions between global powers reached a dangerous breaking point. Naval fleets began moving into strategic waters, guarding critical passages used by oil tankers. Military ships gathered in key choke points across the world's oceans. Warships positioned themselves along routes that carried the majority of global oil supplies. Within hours, the message became clear. These waters were no longer safe.
This disruption ripples across the global economy.
Oil tankers approaching these areas were forced to stop or turn back. Shipping companies scrambled to find alternative routes, but there were none. Global news channels began reporting the unthinkable. Vital sea routes were closing.
Understood. No deviations yet.
Markets reacted instantly as fear spread through financial centers around the world. Governments held emergency meetings to understand the scale of the crisis.
Pumps and valves operate continuously, ensuring the constant flow of vital industry.
Because without these routes, the world's oil supply would begin to disappear.
Drastic measures are essential to stabilize supply and protect our future.
At first, most people didn't notice anything unusual. Cars filled highways, airplanes crossed skies, and factories kept running as usual.
Finally, my turn at the pump.
But far out at sea, hundreds of oil tankers were stranded. Weeks passed, and new shipments never arrived.
Yeah, they run a tight ship here. Looks like we're moving up. Won't be long now. Like that, well.
Fuel reserves began shrinking in country after country. Airlines were among the first to feel the pressure.
Global oil
Flights
reserves
were
are depleting at an
cancelled as
alarming
jet
rate.
fuel
This map
became
shows the
harder
rapid
to
decrease in key
obtain.
regions. The Middle East and Americas are seeing sharp declines. This underscores the need for sustainable energy.
Shipping companies warned of a growing transportation crisis. Truck drivers waited hours in fuel lines. And
Global
slowly,
oil reserves are
the world
depleting at an
began to
alarming rate.
feel the
At current
shortage.
consumption, known reserves could be gone within decades. This demands an urgent transition to sustainable energy.
Gas stations started running out of fuel. Drivers lined up for blocks, hoping to fill their tanks. Some stations placed strict limits on how much fuel each person could buy.
What about the fields as you need to plant? We wait, or we lose the farm. This can't go on.
Others simply ran dry. Without diesel, trucks stopped delivering goods. Supermarket shelves began emptying. Factories slowed production as machines shut down. Airports grew quieter with each passing day.
Warning, power reserves low. Action required.
Across the world, transportation networks began collapsing.
Around the clock. Perimeter defenses and constant patrols ensure these critical resources are protected at all times.
The modern world was grinding to a halt. Without oil, cars were useless.
Walking this route is a game changer. I feel so much more connected to the city.
Millions of vehicles sat idle in parking lots. Airplanes were parked wing to wing on silent runways. Cargo ships waited helplessly in distant waters. Cities became strangely quiet without the constant noise of traffic. Energy shortages began affecting electricity production in some regions. Emergency generators burned through their last reserves of fuel.
The shelves are nearly empty.
Ma'am, we're experiencing shortages. Deliveries are delayed.
This is unbelievable.
Hospitals and critical services faced dangerous
Tell me
uncertainty.
about it. Hope the bus isn't full.
I have a class in 20 minutes.
Easy now, let me get on.
Governments
Whoa,
rushed to
busy out here
protect
today.
remaining fuel supplies.
Almost there. Keep pedaling. Excuse me, coming through.
But the crisis continued spreading. Oil prices skyrocketed to levels never seen before. Stock markets plunged as industries struggled to survive. Global trade slowed dramatically. Countries competed for the last remaining fuel
We
shipments.
need a unified front. Sanctions must be coordinated.
Agreed, but our people need humanitarian aid first.
Then we deploy it. Let's finalize the resolution.
Military forces guarded oil depots and refineries.
Prices! Lower the prices!
We demand action from Gutstopper.
No more excuses. Act now.
Protests
Perimeter
erupted
check
in
complete.
cities
Moving to sector
as
two.
fuel
Copy that,
shortages worsened.
Stay sharp. Hostiles could be near. Understood, sir. Hold position. Scanning now.
Leaders
We're running
warned that the
dangerously
world
low on
economy
supplies
was in
here.
danger.
Copy that. I'll check the back for anything left. These shelves are nearly bare. We need to reorder now. On it. Moving to the loading dock.
But amid the chaos, something unexpected began to happen. Engineers
This is a
and
national alert in the
scientists
emergency alert
accelerated
system.
research
An
into
evacuation order is
alternative
now in
energy.
effect. Please evacuate immediately. Follow instructions from local authorities and emergency personnel. This concludes this emergency broadcast.
The crisis forced humanity to rethink its
In Europe,
dependence on
governments are
oil.
scrambling to avert winter blackouts.
Across Asia, power issues are costs and factory closures. Here at home, inflation is hitting hard.
Solar power projects expanded at record speed. Wind
The new catalyst
turbines
has
appeared
increased
across
efficiency by
vast
15%.
landscapes.
Excellent. I'll run a stress test now.
Agreed. Let's monitor the temperature curve.
Data looks stable. We're ready for the next prototype.
Electric transportation systems gained urgent attention. High-speed rail networks became more important than ever.
Initiating
Researchers
hydrogen fuel
tested
cell
new
test
hydrogen
sequence.
fuel
Pressure
technologies.
stable, flow at optimal levels. Ignition commencing. Observe the reaction. Containment holding. Test successful. The age
Cities
of flight is
invested
over.
heavily
Ultra-high-speed
in
electric
renewable
trains now
energy
rule the rails.
infrastructure.
Reaching speeds over 600 kilometers per hour, they connect cities faster than jets. Sustainable, efficient, and ready for the future. Travel transformed.
The oil crisis was forcing innovation.
In this
Slowly,
advanced battery factory,
nations
robotics
began
and AI power
cooperating
the
to
production of
restore
next-generation
stability.
energy storage. Precision assembly lines ensure every cell meets the highest standards of sustainable energy manufacturing.
Diplomatic
Welcome to the
negotiations
Ultra 4K Global
intensified
Summit.
across
Today,
the
we discuss
globe.
new energy systems.
With demand doubling by 2050,
Precisely.
our Paldi's Vortal technologies. Let's begin.
Let's
Because
review the grid.
reopening the sea
Solar
routes had
integration here is
become
key.
Agreed. The
essential.
wind data shows a 15% variance.
I've run the sim. It confirms stability. Good. Optimize the nodes and recheck the metrics. We gather
International
today to
talks
reaffirm our shared
continued
commitment to global
day
cooperation.
and night.
In the face of challenges, unity is our greatest strength.
Our diverse nation must find common ground for progress.
Let us begin.
Finally, an agreement was reached to reduce tensions at sea. Naval escorts were assigned to protect oil tankers. One by one, the blocked shipping lanes reopened. Tankers resumed their long journeys across the oceans. Refineries
you're clear.
restarted
Seek the
operations after weeks of silence.
Copy that. Moving out.
Fuel
After the
trucks
disruption,
rolled out
airports are
once
slowly
again.
resuming flights. On the tarmac, ground crews prepare the aircraft. Passengers in the terminal wait for boarding calls. Flights are cleared for takeoff.
Airports slowly resumed flights. Highways filled with vehicles returning to the roads. The world was beginning to recover.
From the dark void
But
of space,
the
planet
crisis
Earth emerges,
had
a fragile
revealed a
marble, home from
powerful
all life we know.
truth.
Its swirling clouds and glowing cities remind us of our shared duty to protect this irreplaceable world.
Modern civilization depends on a fragile global energy system.
Our fusion
And that
reactor
system can be
prototype will achieve
disrupted
90%
faster than
efficiency.
anyone
This is the
imagines.
PEG 4000. It creates a stable plasma field.
Simulations show a 40% reduction in global
Ratio
emission
of clean.
abundant energy.
The oil shortage became a warning for the future. A reminder that energy security matters to every nation. Many countries accelerated their transition to cleaner power. Renewable energy became part of long-term survival strategies. Innovation
Experience the
began
Ultra
shaping
4K
a
clean
new
energy
energy
transportation
future.
networks worldwide. revolutionizing mobility with sustainable, high-speed connections, seamlessly linking continents and oceans for a greener tomorrow.
The world slowly rebuilt stronger systems. But the memory of the crisis remained. Because for a brief moment, the world experienced life without oil.
Pumps are down, we can't keep up! We are running, don't save Rasta.
Cities went silent. Transportation stopped.
Simulations are ready. Uploading the model now.
Excellent. We're seeing the data.
Boston confirms. Pipelines are synced and metrics are green.
Perfect. Let's deploy.
Economies trembled. And humanity faced its dependence on a single resource. But crises can also create opportunity. The challenge pushed nations toward new solutions. And new ways to power the planet. The future of energy would no longer rely on one source alone. Because the day the world ran out of oil changed everything.